The Shepnaz podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Shepnaz podcast. I'm Joe, and I'm your host today. And today is Friday the 13th. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about the church website. In fact, we didn't talk just a little bit. We talked a lot of bit about the church website. And if all went as planned, it should be live right now. If you go to shepnaz.org, you can see the new version of that. And if you're curious about what all the features might be, you can go back to yesterday's episode where we gave a complete rundown of what's available on all the various pages. But today we have the privilege and honor to be able to give a farewell to Pastor Rob as he's going on sabbatical. He is promised to come back when he's done.
Oh yeah.
In fact, I think it's going to be hard for him to stay away for even that long. But
I hope I'm allowed to come back. It's going to be so great while I'm gone. They're going to be like, "You want to go again?"
Like, things are running so smooth. What's changed?
Perfect. Yeah. Church is growing.
I don't think that's the case at all. Although I will say, and we're probably going to get a little deeper in this, but there is one week in particular during your sabbatical that has created more buzz and more curiosity than any other week of your sabbatical.
Well, for me too. So,
but we'll get into that. So, tell us a little bit for those that are unfamiliar. What is a sabbatical and what is happening?
Well, a sabbatical is kind of like the church, our denomination, and most Christian organizations do this as well, offer a sabbatical to the staff or the pastors and the staff when they're working. And so right now the policy for the Church of the Nazarene is that every 7 years, well, our policy is working on every 7 years you would get 7 weeks. I think that's been changed to 5 years to get 7 weeks. And so basically, it's not really like you take a 7-week vacation. It's not like just taking off and going away for 7 weeks. So it's not a vacation. With this sabbatical that I've had, like I have it all planned out, and it's like I'm visiting other churches. I'm visiting camps. I have a bunch of books I'm going to read. I have I'm going to a conference that I'm going to be going to, meeting with other pastors. Spending some intentional, specific time away with the Lord to pray and seek Him and vision for the future. So it's not just like time off to go do whatever you want to do. There's specific and intentional things that you should do, but it's not necessary. So it's not really a vacation. It's not like academic leave either. So it's not like I'm going to go away and go study for 7 weeks. I'll certainly study while I'm gone, but it's not like a 7-week study sabbatical or anything like that. And really, it's not like not an escape either. It's not like there's a lot of things going on and I'm trying to get away from all the problems, because that's not the case. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the time to be able to spend with Monica and with the Lord, but I'm kind of like, gosh, there's a lot of fun and exciting things going on around here. I'd hate to leave at this time, but it needs to be this time, or it probably will be another 10 years before it happens, because it hasn't happened yet. So I was actually scheduled to go in March of 2020. Yeah. We were starting off by going to Israel, and then, of course, everyone knows what happens in March of 2020. The day we were leaving is the day that they decided to shut everything down. So, so anyway, that's kind of what it is. But there's definitely some things that you hope happen for a pastor on sabbatical. One, obviously, relax a little bit. And one of the challenges of being a pastor is that there's a Sunday every week. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just you pour your heart and soul into getting everything ready for Sunday, and then you do it. You go home on Sunday afternoon, and you're like, oh, what's next Sunday now? And your mind's never off the clock. You're always thinking. Like, I literally start my sermon prep on Sunday night, sitting around doing a little bit of reading and stuff like that. And then Monday come in and do office work and stuff. And Tuesday, I try to knock it out on a Tuesday, all day Tuesday and a Wednesday. And then you have the rest of the week to do church work, because there's still other stuff that needs to be done. So you just kind of never really get out of this mode of thinking of what's coming, what's next, what am I going to do next? And I mean, you could hit a home run on Sunday, and then you're like, got to do this again on Sunday. You could flop big on Sunday, and you're like, oh crud, I got to do this again next Sunday, So it was funny. I'm in a preaching collaborative, and Andy Stanley, who a lot of people know who he is, he was talking about this with his son, and his son was talking about the pressure of preaching for his dad, and he goes like, my dad's got to give. It's like giving a book report every week on the same book. So I thought that was funny. So it's just a time to kind of unplug your brain a little bit from those kinds of things.
And I think it speaks well to just the energy that we have at the church and the staff that we have and our congregation, is that no Sunday is a regular Sunday. We go into it every week like, okay, what's this weekend going to be like? What we got going on this weekend? Yeah. But that also takes a toll after 9.5 years.
I mean, it does. Yeah.
So
and I'm grateful. I mean, we have a great team here. It's not a solo show. I don't do it all by myself. There are pastors who, in some churches they're the only pastor, and they do it all themselves, and that would be very hard. So I'm very blessed to have a team that helps put things together. I do my part. Everybody else does their parts, and it comes off on Sundays. But everybody's got a part. But yeah, it just doesn't stop. It's like, there's a Sunday coming, and there's one every week.
Well, and I think another aspect of it that maybe people don't think about is like, they may take a few weeks off, and while they're on vacation or whatever, they go visit another church, or when they're with other relatives at other places and other events, they get to see what's going on at other churches and how other people do things, and kind of get refreshed that way a little bit and get new perspective. And that's a lot harder when you're the lead pastor of a church to be able to go to another church someplace else on a Sunday.
Yeah, you can certainly watch services online, but it's a lot different to go there in person, to experience the atmosphere, all the other things that involve that. So that's one of the things that we'll do, is we'll be visiting other churches. I always like to try to go to churches that are larger than we are, to learn things about how we can grow to the next level as a church as well. So we'll be going to other churches and meeting pastors and talking to people and experiencing stealing ideas, which I call research. So there's a lot of churches that are doing some really great things, and we can learn from those things. And so you definitely can't do that when you're here every Sunday. You can't learn from other folks. So there's that, and then the renewal of being able to like it takes a fair amount of energy every week to put a message together. I mean, you got to be thinking about it. You got to get the context. I mean, there's a lot to that. And then if there's other things to do, there's not like a lot of margin for some of the other things that it takes to run the church and for a church to be healthy. So I'll have the opportunity to study other things, that are part of the church. So if I'm not spending 10 or 15 hours a week putting a message together, then I have 10 or 15 extra hours I can work on this other part of the church. And for me, the way I view that is there's systems in the church, kind of like our body has all these systems. And when all the systems are working together, you're a healthy person. But if in your body you have a system that isn't working well, you get sick. And so the church, if not all the systems are working well together, then the church isn't healthy. And there's 7 systems of the church, and I'll probably spend a week on each one of those. That'd be one of the things that I'll do. Some of our systems are healthy and good. Some of them we can use some work on some of those systems. And so I'm reading and studying and praying and thinking about some of those things. So hopefully we'll come back with some ideas about how to help some of those things become healthy as well.
And while you were mentioning that, I was thinking of the series that you did in Revelation called 7, and how Jesus kind of was giving that evaluation of like looking at each of the churches and saying, okay, this is what you're doing great, this is what you're not doing so great, and time to reevaluate, retool, figure out what needs to be done. And so it's good that you're able to take a step back and be able to look big picture of like, let's make sure we're heading in the right direction. And it correlates directly to our mission statement of helping people take their next step towards Jesus, because we got to make sure that as an organization that individually, yes, people are taking their next step, but also as an organization, we're facilitating those things for that to happen.
Yeah. Correct. Yep. Yeah. So one of the things that that has created a little bit of stir and buzz, and I'm actually excited about it, believe it or not, is I'm going to spend a week at a monastery. There's a monastery in Kentucky. I think it's a Trappist monastery. It'll be living among monks and stuff like that. They have 7 prayer services, 5 or 7 a day. Starts at like 3 a.m. I probably won't make that one every day that I'm there, but it's a silent thing. Like when you're there, you're not supposed to be talking. And
this is the part that's got everybody cheesed up.
And so it's like, for basically a week, I'll be at a monastery and nobody's talking, so there's nobody to talk to. But it seems like, I asked Monica, I'm like, you want to go with me? She's like, no, that's a hard pass. And so, but it's, I'm fairly excited about that because there's a lot of value in making space for the Lord to talk to you. And when you're going, 7 days a week and you're producing a message every week and you're trying to keep everything going, I don't have unless I get up like super early in the morning, I don't have a long period of time ever where I'm silent and can listen. I mean, I try to listen to the Lord often. I try to listen to the Lord every day, but what I'm excited about is to go and just be silent and just take all of the things that are coming into my brain and let them be gone and get out all the stuff I need to say and then just say, all right, my brain is empty now. What do you have to say, Lord? And so I'm really looking forward to just finding some space to be silent, to say what I need to say, but then to say, all right, you got days here. You can talk to me. I'm listening. I'm not talking to anybody else. I'm not on social media. I'm not studying for a sermon. I'm listening to you. And so it might be awesome. It might be torture. I don't know. When I was in college, I had a class where we had to do a 24-hour silent retreat, and we went to this camp in Washington, D.C., and me and my buddies didn't do well with it. we weren't silent. So it'll be interesting. So, but I'm looking forward to hearing and listening what the Lord might have to say, to me personally about my relationship with Him, our family and our church, and just to make space for the Lord to talk. He might not have anything to say. I think He probably will, but at least I'll give Him space to do it. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I know several people that are ready for a full report once that week is over.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for you. So
thanks.
what else is going on?
Well, we're going to, Monica and I are going to spend some time together. So we're going to go do some fun stuff. I'm going to be, I'm a part of this preaching collaborative, and there are groups that are all over the country of guys that are meeting online with other pastors from other churches. I meet with 4 other pastors, West Virginia and Ohio. And so all these cohorts are happening all over the country, and they're all gathering together in Colorado for a few days to meet and to kind of go through this whole thing. And so I'll be a part of that as well, looking forward to that. And just, learning from the other guys. There'll be a lot of people there talking about preaching and how to improve your preaching and that kind of stuff. So that's been a fun thing for us to be a part of. And I'm also going to be visiting some camps as well. When you try to get away, it's expensive, but at camps I kind of shack up pretty cheap at some of these camps.
Put a tent in the Jeep and go.
Yeah, we actually did get my daughter and son-in-law let us, we're thinking about buying this mattress that fits in the back of the Jeep. You put the seats down and it's turns your Jeep into a little camper. I don't know if we're going to try it once. I don't know if we'll like it or not, but just, going to some camps and learning from them as well, because I'm working with the Hocking Hills camp. So it's kind of lots of things. I've got a giant stack of books that I want to read. getting all my fishing stuff out. It's all ready to go. That's the only thing that I have ready. It's in the corner sitting. Nothing else is packed, but my fishing poles and all my lures are packed. So,
well, I don't think it's any surprise to anyone that knows you that you're going to have the busiest resting time possible. So that's great. Well, you had mentioned that you're going to be, talking a little bit about kind of working on your sermon prep styles and things like that. I guess that's our segue into talking about, you're going to be gone for the next month and a half. And so what's happening here while you're doing that?
Yeah. So again, this church is just incredibly blessed with so many people that are willing to serve and give and so many talented people. And we have, a great staff, and we have some retired pastors. You could call them retired. They're not really retired, but pastors, guys who used to be full-time pastors. And I just sent an email out to some of them and said, hey, I'm going to be going on sabbatical. Would you be willing to cover a week? And literally in a day, we had it covered. And all the staff are going to continue to do everything that they're doing. I didn't want to add more onto them because they still got to do their regular job. So Pastor Tim will be preaching the first message. And then, we have people like Bill Dillon and Larry Hall and Dan Stiers. We have a missionary coming from Guatemala that's going to come. Kathy Burgess is going to preach one. Nick is going to preach one. So they're just different people from our church is going to be preaching, and but they're all preaching a series. And so the series is going to be called The Jesus Way, and they're all going to be picking a passage of Scripture from Matthew 5, 6, and 7, which is where Jesus was preaching the Sermon on the Mount. So that's kind of the idea behind the Jesus Way. And then there's a song that came out with that we'll be singing on Sunday. Zach's going to be teaching to everybody. It's a really cool song by Phil Wickham called The Jesus Way.
Nice.
So it all flows together. So the next 7 weeks, it'll be great. It'll be 7 different pastors speaking. It'll all be kind of on the Sermon on the Mount and different parts of that. They're all preaching on a different piece of it. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a really good time. So, I want to encourage people to not unplug. Everything's going to keep going. Everything's probably going to go smoother, as we mentioned earlier, and better. And it'll probably come back, and the people will be like, hey, can you go for one more 7 weeks period? Because things are going so well.
I don't think that'll be the case. But when you return, we're hitting the ground running because it will be going into revival, the weekend right after you get back.
So it was interesting how this worked out. I didn't know about the sabbatical when I planned the revival, but we have Dr. J.K. Warwick, who is a retired general superintendent. He's been pastoring over in Dayton, Ohio, and he's finally retired again from pastoring and wants to travel and speak. And so he'll be coming and doing a revival starting November, I think it's the 3rd. The 3rd through the 6th, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So my first Sunday back will be the week that he's preaching, which is nice because it'll give me a week to kind of process everything and get ready to start preaching again.
That way you don't have to spend your last week of sabbatical doing sermon prep for the Sunday that you're coming back on. So that's great.
Right, but it will be great to have him, and he's a great speaker, a great leader. I don't know very many general superintendents who, when they retired from being a general superintendent, went into kind of the inner city like Dayton and pastored a small church and did an amazing job, and that's what he did. And hopefully we'll have him on the podcast at some point, if before the revival, if not before, during for sure. But it'll be a great revival. So be thinking about that and praying about that, and that'll be the first week in November. So.
All right, so you want to bid us farewell as we wrap this up?
Yeah, well, I feel like I should sing "Happy Trails" or something, but I don't want to, decrease the people listening to it. So, but I'm looking forward to it, and I will be praying for everybody here and for God to continue to just do what He's doing, and appreciate your prayers as well. But we're looking forward to it.
All right, sounds great. We hope you have a good time.
Thank you.
And encourage everyone that's listening to be praying for him during this time. If nothing else, selfishly, because the more he hears from God, the more benefit we're going to get as a church. So that would be great. Yep. As you know, we have the new version of the church website that's live today. So go to shepnaz.org and follow everything that's going on. Check out the new section called Shep Now and see a bunch of resources that you can look at as well. For Pastor Rob, I'm Joe. Have a great day. This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.